Your ankle locks probably look like this. In this video today, I will teach you some really brutal ankle lock finishes, all the mechanics. Check it out. What is up, guys? Time to look at some brutal ankle lock finishes. Not as many entries, but some really good grips, variations, and how to apply good pressure in your ankle locks. One of the submissions I hit a lot in competition, both in gi, both in no gi, several divisions, and some of our athletes, a lot of our athletes are pretty good at ankle locks. The meta is also shifting because a lot of people in no gi are really good at defending heel hooks, where they point the toes, which exposes the ankle lock more. So I think it's a very valuable submission, not only for white belts where it's legal to do ankle locks, but also for higher belts to chain this with your heel hooks, as both dilemmas will occur. Let's just get to it. So, I'm not going to go over the entries into the leg lock positions. I got so many of these, I'll make some new reels to revisit that, but I highly recommend you, and I'll say it several times today, check out Leg Locks Unlocked on BJJ Fanatics. Yeah? I don't know who's the instructor, but it's a really good DVD. So, we're going to talk today not that much about either having this outside Ashi, upgrading to a butterfly Ashi, inside Ashi, or whatever position we have, or 2 feet on the hip, pinching in. There's so many variations on the leg configurations. Today, I will only talk about the submission. So, in the ankle lock, now let's get technical here. Our main objective is to really attack the ankle ligaments, but there's so many ways to do this, because it's very easy to just think like, oh, overextending the ankle and the joints and ligaments, but there's also the rotation of the foot, which puts stress on the outside of the ankle or the inside. Now, the inside is pretty hard because the ankle ligaments are very tight here, which is good news because in a heel hook, it would transfer the power all to the knee. That's why you see outside heel hooks often first popping an ankle, then going to the knee, where inside heel hooks put more pressure on the knee immediately. I don't want to go too much into the physiotherapy session today, but we're going to look at how to finish your ankle locks. First off, some basic things, and I don't recommend you to skip this, especially the one blue belt who's now thinking about skipping. The basics are the most important thing. So if we want to overextend the ankle, we need a good form of leg control so that he doesn't elevate the hip to relieve the pressure. If we're only here, he will just elevate his knee and hip, he's out and I don't have control. So I need to keep the hip or the knee, like we do for instance in a trend lock, this different video we have, it's a short Achilles, so it goes from here to here, or with butterfly Ashi or Kazoku lock. There's a lot of locks we can do where we need some leverage on the leg. Once again, today is about the ankle lock and the grips with the upper body. I advise you to study some of the leg entanglements, but we got a different video on all the leg lock positions. My objective is to expose the ankle. A lot of beginners will be too high on the calf. Now what happens if Ties were to flex his toes towards him? I'm just putting pressure on the calf, and he's pretty strong in keeping this foot flexed with the strength of his leg muscles. Now, I want to trap the toes inside of my armpit. Now what happens a lot when people show this on YouTube, they're just going to go like this and collect the toes, and this guy is just going to help me out. So I'm just going to show you how we deal with this if someone is really booting. So defense and offense always go hand in hand in my videos, so he's not really complying that much. If I really want to overextend his toes, and I go backwards now, his toes are pretty strong, especially if all of my weight goes past his foot. It should all go into the foot. Now what I would like to do is to bend his toes, is to lift my shoulder up higher. So I'm higher on the toes, because now I'm just going against strong muscles in his feet. I want to go up. But if I go up, he goes up. So I like to keep the shin low. This grip you will see later on today, but it's just a grip on the shin, where I will now push the shin down and lift only my right armpit up and bend his toes all the way over in my armpit. Now you can see his ankle is outside of my armpit. You will immediately see there's some more pressure on Ties, and his toes are no longer visible on the back side of my shoulder. Now his foot is bent and now his ankle is exposed. Now for the beginners, I would highly advise you to first understand that we have to isolate the ankle ligaments, so we have to see them, and we have to make sure the grip is tight. If my elbow is outside of my body, I have the ankle in a good position, but he can just turn and slip his ankle out, either on the outside or on the inside. Now for the people with some more experience in different leg locks, if he really starts turning his heel towards me, I would just slip in for Aoki locks. Yeah, we have a good video on that. And if he starts turning his heel on the outside, I would slip to outside heel hooks if that's allowed. But he will find a way in this triangle to get his ankle out. Our job is to keep this so tight that he cannot pull his leg out, nor can he kick it through and boot on again. Now he can also push his leg through and boot again. And now I really have to deal with this flexing of the ankle again. Once again, if heel hooks are allowed in your division, if he flexes, it's really good for me to expose the heel. And then his defense will be again to ballerina toe, slip his heel, which exposes the ankle. So I want you to get really good at understanding the anatomy of his foot and switching between your leg locks and your attacks accordingly. Today is about ankle locks, but there are so many follow-ups with the Aoki locks, wash locks, and heel hooks. depending on his reaction. Now about distance management, if I want to slide down further on this ankle by pushing it down, lifting my shoulder, I also extend my body in and out with my different Ashis. It doesn't matter where or how I am. I can always start pushing his knee to the mat, pulling it more in, pulling it more back, to make sure I find that sweet spot where his ankle is exposed. Now for the basic grip, I would always advise, this is just a basic grip. For the elbow, to control the space, you can pull your arm in deeper, or you can also just flare your elbow to your body. Now if he tries to pull his leg out, it's stuck. And if he tries to kick it through and boot again, it is also stuck. I want your hand to be high on your body, so it puts stress and flex on the ankle. If it is low, just like a guillotine, I would have to put a lot of pressure, and the lever from my armpit all the way to my hip is way too big, and nothing happens to his ankle. So I want your hands to be high, and just a basic grip is to imagine like you're doing a guillotine and lift this up, or control here. I'm going to show you so many different grips, but just stay tuned for the basics, and the grips will go a bit faster. I have to be aware that he can control this arm and pull it out, so I don't leave too much space with that elbow. So I like to keep that also close to my body. Yeah, my hands are high, and now I want to engage my traps, my lats, and my back. So there's a difference between this grip, and I want you to look at his face as well. The difference between here and engaging all my muscles here. You see there's already stress or pressure on the grip. So your grip should already be strong and putting tension on the ankle, like any submission, before we start applying pressure. Now let's loosen up the grip a little bit so we can look at the rest of the body. My knees are pinching in, my feet are controlling the distance, and instead of bridging my hips in and all these details, I want you to understand that we want to apply as little force as possible, so we have so much more to give. A common misconception is that people fall back on this shoulder. If we fall to this shoulder, it doesn't add anything to the ankle on the left side. I'm even helping him to escape a bit more. And for the beginners, if you fall to the inside, you will maybe get DQ'd. So I'm not falling back to the mat like this. Neither am I collapsing my chest on his shin. A lot of people think when they move a lot, they're doing a lot. That's not true. If my chest just falls on his shin, all I'm doing is falling with my chest on his shin. It is not doing anything to this ankle. So it looks like I'm doing a lot here or here, but I'm moving a lot, but nothing is added to this ankle lock. So if you ever see some beginners just pulling and yanking, learn proper finishing mechanics. I'm here to show you how. We're almost there. We got a good grip on the ankle. We're seeing the ankle ligaments. We know how to shove, control, and make sure the toes are in our armpit. Yeah, sorry, let's stay with the basic grip. And now we're gonna lift up, take a tight and high grip, roll our shoulder backwards. So you'll see first I engage my traps, lats, and back muscles. So it's tight, and now I will just roll my right shoulder back to the mat. That's it. And that should put enough tension on his ankle to get a tap. But I have so much more to give. Now, the more I commit to the ankle lock, the more I go away from all my possibilities to follow up, get a sweep, and switch between positions. So instead of falling to the mat, if I don't have to fall to the mat and I can finish here, I'll take that, because it gives me so many options to get on top, switch, get a leg drag, and change positions. The more I commit to the ankle lock, the more I go away from the intersection of moves. Yeah, the deeper I go, the more pressure I get, but the more I'm giving away my options. Think about it this way: if I have back control and I have two hooks, I can easily go to mount, switch between positions, and if I close a body triangle or a truck position or a lockdown, I'm also stuck. Keep that in mind. So now if we do want to commit and put more pressure, because the first one's not helping, I'm not falling to the shoulder here on the mat, because this doesn't add anything. What I can do is I'm going to loosen the grip a little bit so These's ankle won't explode. I'm going to imagine putting my shoulder on the place of my elbow. So I twist my body in like an uppercut. So not the shoulder to the mat, but the shoulder in the place of the elbow, like this. And that puts a lot of pressure, you can see, on the ankle. Yeah? Then add that with a strong grip, and I would just fall and put a lot of pressure on the ankle joint. And it also helps me, instead of just extending, to twist the ankle in. But I'm committing more and more to the ankle lock. Now finally we can go belly down, look backwards. My shoulder rolls in to get the submission, and I twist and apply the ankle lock. And I think just this basic way of finding the ankle lock, not bridging your hips in, it doesn't add that much. All I'm doing is staying here. I isolate the femur, the upper leg. I control the shin. The ankle is exposed. I get a tight grip. I engage my lat and back muscles. So I'm not just here. Everything is tight. I twist my shoulder back. That's enough. Yeah? And then I still have all this pressure to give. Now let's do some grip variations, because some of them are way stronger than the grip I'm using right now. The problem with the grips is you have strong grips. The same goes with heel hooks. But the more I switch my grips and go like reverse figure forward, I get strong grips, but it's also slower, and I'm also more trapped. And my chances to switch to different leg entanglements now get a bit harder. So I'm not going to say today what's the best ankle lock grip. I love people saying this is the one best, but I'm just going to give you the options and you can choose. A few that I like to use. Something I really like is instead of going with my conventional grip, is to go with this shotgun grip. Now, the nice thing about this is that I control the shin. I can push it out, so I can choose to let his heel slip for an Aoki lock. I can choose to pull it a little bit back in and find my way to a heel hook, and I can push and pull the shin up and down. So I can just slide myself backwards, inwards, up and down. So it gives me a lot of control on the leg. Besides that, it's also a really tight grip to finish the submission. So it's really good for me to go here. If you have some trouble with your wrist, so you cannot get this palm-to-palm grip, sometimes I'll just put the fist here. And you see if I twist my hands, it applies pressure on the ankle. I'm not doing anything with my shoulder or body. So it's not just about getting here, it's also about rolling your wrists and body in, and the grip should already be very, very tight in this shotgun grip. Next off, we can go elbow to elbow. It's also a very strong grip. It's very strong, because now I really isolate, and my arms are really stuck. So for him to grab my arm now, find a space in between there, that's going to be very hard. And my arms are going to be elbow to elbow. Very strong grip. We get the reverse figure 4 grip, where my arm goes in. Same thing applies. I love doing this with heel hooks as well. Same thing applies. Reverse grip to attack. And one final detail, something that I also really like to do, is get this V grip underneath his ankle. It's going to be a mix a little bit between an Aoki and an ankle lock. It's still legal, it's an ankle lock. I'm not really sure on the name. Please let me know in the comments. I think Taza did this, so maybe Taza grip. I'm not really sure, guys. I've seen so many grips on ankle locks and tried so many things these days. I get this grip underneath his heel, and my other hand goes in and controls my own wrist here. So I get this V grip here, my elbow's in, and I then roll my wrists up to put a lot of pressure on the grip. Yeah, so just the grip puts pressure, and then we once again get the shoulder, the chest, the lat engagement, and all of these things to apply. Let's round it up a little bit with this. These are all outside heel hooks from an outside Ashi. Things change a little bit when we get to inside Ashi. Yeah, we got the grips up, down, figure 4, shotgun grips. I hope this helps you with finishing your ankle locks. I hope you also see that with all these different grips, there's ups, there's pros and cons with all of them. Let me know in the comments which you think is the best grip to use to finish your ankle locks, and see you in the next video. Peace.